Hi everybody, it's Positive Bluebird. I'm going to read you a little story, and this is actually from my next door neighbor. It's a book that she let me borrow, and she actually offered 4 of these beautiful, well-kept books that are in great shape. And these stories we all have grown up with. And I'll start with The Boy Who Cried Wolf. There was a young boy who lived in a village. He wasn't very old, but he had an important job. He was a shepherd, and his job was to guard the sheep from danger, especially from wolves. The shepherd boy also had to make sure the sheep got plenty of food and exercise. Every day, in order to give the sheep the exercise they needed, the boy took them to a nearby valley. The shepherd boy wasn't really all alone. The village people worked nearby as well. If a wolf ever did attack, the people could run to the rescue. The villagers counted on the shepherd boy to do his job. They never felt like they had to check in on him. They trusted him to do what he was supposed to do. Every day, the shepherd faithfully watched the sheep from his lookout post. He could also see the people hard at work. Some days they worked at their jobs in the village, and some days they did other chores. For the shepherd boy, every day was the same. He looked at the sheep, and they looked the same every day. Then he looked out at the forest. It looked the same too. While he was happy most days just to do his job, some days he wished that something exciting would happen. In his whole life, the boy had never seen a wolf come near the sheep. In fact, he had never even seen a wolf. Some people told stories of hearing wolves howl in the forest, but the boy never heard any howling. Sometimes he even wondered if they really were any wolves. One day, the shepherd tried to make things more exciting. He thought, maybe I can play some games with the sheep. He planned his next day, and he smiled when he thought about the fun he would have. The boy woke up bright and early the next morning. He ate his breakfast very quickly, and then he packed his bag for the day. As soon as he reached the green grass with the sheep in the valley, the shepherd boy tried to play games with them. The sheep, however, had a different idea. They didn't want to play that catch. They didn't want to play any games at all. They were not interested in trying to bounce that ball. They didn't even want to try to kick the ball. All the sheep wanted to do was eat the grass or take a nap. This isn't any fun at all, thought the shepherd boy. Downhearted, the shepherd boy walked slowly back to his lookout post. I just wanted to make things a little more exciting around here, he said. Then something caught the corner of his eye. He could tell the wind was blowing because it made the treetops move. I wonder, he said, thinking out loud, what is on the other side of those trees? The boy smiled to himself. Would it be so bad to pretend that there was a wolf? He thought this would be a joke. And he thought it was going to be a good one. As the sheep ate the grass, he cupped his hand near his mouth and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is stealing the sheep! Come help me!" he cried. All the village people stopped what they were doing and ran to help scare off the wolf. When they all got there, they were very confused. The villagers did not find any wolf. A villager pointed to a tree and said, "There he is, over there. Is he okay?" They saw he was not hurt. In fact, he was laughing. "You looked so funny running up here for no reason. This was a great joke," laughed the boy. But the villagers did not laugh. They had been very scared for the boy and the sheep. They did not feel like laughing at all. They shook their heads and said, "We have to get back to work now. We don't have time for your pranks." The shepherd boy hardly heard a word they said. He was laughing way too hard. At breakfast the next day, the boy's mother and father told him to be good. He nodded his head and left to tend the sheep. Soon, however, he was bored again. "Wolf! Wolf!" he shouted louder and louder and louder. "A wolf is stealing the sheep! Come help me!" Again the villagers came running. Again there were no wolf in sight. This time the village people were very upset. They told the boy, "If you don't tell people the truth all the time, they will never know when to believe you." The boy was still laughing at his joke. After the villagers went back to their jobs, however, he stared and stared into space. But then he started to think about what the people had said. Maybe, he thought, it isn't so funny to play tricks on others. The shepherd boy began walking back to his lookout post. Little did he know he was soon going to have all the excitement he could handle. Just on the other side of the trees, a sly wolf had seen everything. When the shepherd reached his post, the wolf began stealing the sheep, and the shepherd boy couldn't believe his eyes. It was a real wolf, he cried out. "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is stealing the sheep! Come help me!" He waited for the villagers to come running, but no one came. They weren't going to fall for that trick again. This time, though, it was not a trick. The boy tried crying for help again, but no one came. He could only watch as the wolf ran off into the forest with all the sheep. This time, the only one laughing was the wolf. The shepherd boy ran into the village. "Wolf! Wolf!" he cried. "He's stealing our sheep." The boy kept running and calling for help, but no one believed him. They did not believe he was telling the truth. He called it out again and again and again. And one villager said, "Oh, I bet. I can't believe that boy is trying to make fools of us again." "Well, he's not going to make a fool out of me," said another villager. "I don't believe him." Finally, the shepherd boy stopped running. "I'm telling the truth this time," he said. "There really is a wolf in the valley, and he really is stealing the sheep. You've got to believe me," he said. The villagers came and looked at the boy. They shook their fingers at him. "We're smarter than you think," the people said. "This time, we're just going to ignore you and your wolf." Huh. At that moment, the shepherd boy knew no one would believe him. How could he blame them? When they trusted him, he let them down. He lost their trust, but not always telling the truth. He sadly walked back to his lookout and gazed down where he always took his sheep to eat the grass. But there weren't any sheep left. The wolf had taken all of them away, and the boy was so sad that he began to cry. The boy remembered what his parents and the villagers had told him. How he wished he had listened to what they had said. He wished he had just told the truth. He didn't want any harm to come to the sheep. Because he didn't tell the truth, no one believed him when it really mattered. Now it was too late. The shepherd boy didn't think his joke was funny anymore. Here is one to grow on. It's called honesty. The shepherd boy learned the hard way about the importance of being honest. When he played tricks on the villagers, he paid a big price for a small joke. As much fun as it is to laugh, it is always important to tell the truth. If you were on the villagers, or one of the villagers, would you know when to believe the shepherd boy? How do you think it felt to be tricked? What are ways you can be sure people know you are telling the truth? And with that, I want 431 of my subscribers to please pause, take a moment, and realize that you can't troll somebody, you can't belittle and bash somebody, you can't call them names and make fun of their eyebrows and their teeth. You can't spread hate and lies about somebody that is positive and has a positive channel, or anybody else for that matter, and then make a video crying and gasping and not understand where all this hatred is coming from. I'm going to link in the description box down below a particular channel that likes to sit on the porch. Are you one of those people? Karma has done its job. And if you read the comment section, so you don't have to go through 2 hours worth of ridiculousness in a video, read the comment section. Those are all my haters. Backstabbing one another, turning on one another, belittling, trying to defend somebody else, trying to defend themselves. I hope you all have learned a tough lesson. And for clarity, I never told anybody in one of my other videos a few days ago that I was done with YouTube or that I was ending it. I never said that. I wanted to take a step back and take a break to clear my name here in the community of housing where there are dozens of children that are happy with my positivity that I bring to them every day, and an apartment manager who is constantly telling me that I bring charisma to this property, and to law enforcement who have cleared my name dozens of times. So go on, keep spreading hate, or stay here where there is positivity. Peace out, everyone. Stay positive.